The universe guides you toward greatness through one fundamental principle. Imagination creates reality. This is not poetry or metaphor, but the most practical of all practical facts. The world you perceive externally is nothing more than your own consciousness pushed out. Every circumstance, every person, every detail of your life exists first within you before it manifests without. Tonight, I wish to impress upon you that the universe, that infinite intelligence some call God, is not separate from you, directing your path from afar. Rather, it is your own wonderful human imagination, that divine faculty within you that creates and sustains all that you experience. Your imagination is God in action, and through its proper use you manifest greatness beyond measure. Consider for a moment what imagination truly is. It is not idle fantasy or wishful thinking. It is the very substance of reality, the creative power through which all things are made. When you imagine, you are literally tuning into the frequency of creation itself. You are participating in the divine act of bringing forth worlds. Now, listen carefully, for what I am about to tell you contradicts everything you have been taught about causation. You have been told that what you observe in the outer world is the cause of your inner states. That poverty causes you to feel poor, that illness causes you to feel unwell, that loneliness causes you to feel unloved. This is entirely backward. Your inner states, your assumptions, your dominant feelings, these are the causes of all outer conditions. The universe guides you by responding unerringly to your state of consciousness. If you persist in the feeling of being wealthy, the outer world must reshape itself to match that inner conviction. If you dwell in the assumption of perfect health, your body will conform. If you live from the state of being deeply loved, relationships will transform, or new ones will appear to reflect that state. This is law, as certain as gravity. It cannot fail, for consciousness is the only reality, and all else is merely its shadow. The outer world has no choice but to mirror faithfully what you hold to be true in consciousness. This is how the universe guides you, not by external signs or omens, but by the perfect correlation between your inner and outer worlds. Now, many of you sit here tonight wondering, if this is true, why have my dreams not manifested? Why does greatness elude me? The answer is both simple and profound. You have not yet fully occupied the state of consciousness that corresponds to your desire. You visit it occasionally in imagination, but you do not live there. You do not sleep in that state night after night, feeling its reality so intensely that experience anything else would seem impossible. Let me share with you the perfect technique for manifesting greatness. Before you sleep each night, bring your attention completely to the end, the fulfillment of your desire. See it not as something that will happen in some vague future, but as something that has already happened. Feel the satisfaction, the relief, the joy of attainment. Ask yourself, how would I feel if my desire were already a fact? Then capture that feeling and fall asleep in it. In that drowsy state between waking and sleeping, your conscious mind relaxes its guard, and your subconscious becomes impressionable. What you impress upon it then must objectify in your world. This is not suggestion or self-hypnosis in the ordinary sense. This is entering the state of the wish fulfilled, and your subconscious mind, which is God in you, will move heaven and earth to externalize that state. Remember always that creation is finished. All possible states exist now. You do not create your desired state. You simply select it by occupying it in imagination. When you enter a state in consciousness, you automatically create a bridge of incidents that will lead to its physical expression. The universe guides you unfailingly along this bridge. I recall a young woman who attended my lectures years ago. She desired to be married to a specific man, but he showed no interest in her. Night after night, she fell asleep feeling the wedding ring on her finger, hearing friends congratulate her, feeling the presence of her husband beside her in bed. Within 3 months, against all outer evidence, that very man proposed to her. The universe guided her by responding to her dominant state of consciousness. Now, some will say this is mere coincidence. Others will claim she somehow influenced the man psychologically. Both miss the point entirely. She did not change the man, she changed herself. In changing her concept of self, seeing herself as the beloved wife rather than the ignored admirer, she entered a new relationship with the entire universe, including that man. He had no choice but to play the part assigned to him in her revision of self. This brings us to another crucial aspect of how the universe guides you. It responds not to your desires, but to your concept of self. You may desire wealth fervently, but if you maintain a self-concept of one who struggles financially, your desire will be frustrated. The universe guides you according to who you believe yourself to be. Therefore, the greatest act of manifestation is the transformation of your self-concept. When you truly know yourself to be great, greatness must follow, as surely as night follows day. This is not egotism or delusion. It is aligning with your divine nature. For you are not merely a human being seeking spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. Let us explore this further. The self-concept is formed of your habitual thoughts and feelings about yourself. These thoughts are often so deeply ingrained that you accept them without question. I am unlucky. I am not creative. Success is difficult for me. These are not facts, they are assumptions. And all assumptions can be changed through the conscious use of imagination. Revise your self-concept by mentally constructing scenes that imply you are who you wish to be. If you wish to be wealthy, create a scene where you are discussing your financial abundance with a friend. Make it brief, make it natural, but most importantly, make it imply the fulfillment of your desire. Repeat this scene until it feels more real than its absence. The universe guides you through the law of assumption. Whatever you assume to be true, consciously or unconsciously, will harden into fact in your experience. This is why casual negative assumptions are so dangerous. When you say nothing ever works out for me, you are instructing the universe to ensure exactly that outcome. Your word, your assumption, is quite literally your wand of fulfillment. Now let me address something that troubles many seekers. The matter of effort. There is a prevailing belief that manifestation requires strain, visualization exercises of patience repeated thousands of times. I tell you, the universe guides you not through effort, but through the intensity of your conviction. One moment of complete acceptance is worth more than years of trying. The feeling is the secret. When you capture the feeling of your wish fulfilled and persist in it, you have found the secret of manifestation. The feeling is both the means and the end. Feel wealth, and you will be wealthy. Feel health, and you will be healthy. Feel love, and you will be loved. The universe responds not to your words or actions, but to your dominant feeling tones. Consider a man who desires promotion at work. He may affirm daily that he deserves advancement. He may visualize sitting in the executive office. But if his feeling tone is one of unworthiness or anxiety, these will be the seeds that bear fruit. Instead, let him capture the feeling of satisfaction that would be his upon achieving the promotion. Let him feel the handshakes of congratulation, the pride in telling his family, the confidence as he occupies his new position. This feeling, persisted in, will draw to him the circumstances necessary for its fulfillment. The universe guides you by responding to your emotional states. Emotion is energy in motion, the propelling force behind manifestation. Your desires will manifest not when you want them most desperately, but when you feel most naturally that they are already yours. This brings us to another critical point. Manifestation occurs most readily in the absence of desperation. When you need something so badly that you are consumed by the need, you are actually affirming its absence. You are declaring to the universe, I do not have this, and my happiness depends upon getting it. This state of consciousness can only produce more of its own lack. Instead, cultivate a state of grateful acceptance. Even before your desire appears physically, thank the universe for its fulfillment. Live in the calm certainty that what you have assumed in consciousness must objectify. This attitude of relaxed confidence is magnetic to your good. I once knew a man who had been unemployed for months. He came to me in desperation, having tried everything to secure work. I instructed him to fall asleep each night, as though he were returning from a satisfying day at a wonderful job, not visualizing the specific employer, but feeling the satisfaction of meaningful work and financial security. Within 2 weeks, he received 3 job offers, one of which was far better than anything he had previously imagined possible. The universe guided him not through his frantic search, but through his assumption of employment as an already established fact. Now, there is another aspect of universal guidance that is often overlooked, the matter of timing. Many abandon their manifestation practices because their desires do not materialize on their preferred schedule. They fail to understand that the universe operates according to divine timing, not human impatience. When you plant a seed in the ground, you do not dig it up every day to check its progress. You water it, you provide the conditions for growth, and you trust in the natural process of germination. So it is with your desires. Plant them in consciousness through the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Then allow the universe to bring them to fruition in its perfect timing. This requires faith, not blind faith in an external power, but faith in the law of consciousness itself. It requires knowing that what is impressed in consciousness must express. There is no question of if, only when, and the when is determined not by calendars and clocks, but by the intensity and persistence of your assumption. Let me share with you now one of the most powerful manifestation techniques I have ever discovered: revision. The past exists only in memory, and memory can be altered through the conscious use of imagination. If today has brought disappointment or failure, revise it before you sleep. Replace the unwanted event with one that would have satisfied you. Feel the revised scene as vividly as you felt the original. This practice does something remarkable. It alters not just your memory, but the trajectory of your manifestation. For whatever you take with you into sleep impresses your subconscious mind, and your subconscious knows no difference between an actual event and one vividly imagined. By revising the day, you literally rewrite your past and consequently your future. I recall a businessman who had botched an important presentation, losing a significant contract. That night, instead of replaying the failure, he revised the scene. In imagination, he heard the client praising his presentation and eagerly signing the contract. He fell asleep in this assumption. 3 days later, the client called unexpectedly, saying he had reconsidered and wanted to move forward after all. This was not coincidence. This was the law of revision at work. The universe guides you to the principle of revision by allowing you to alter the past in consciousness, thereby changing the patterns that determine your future. Your past is simply your beliefs about what has occurred, and beliefs can be changed. Now, as we consider how the universe guides you to manifest greatness, we must address a fundamental truth. There is no one else. There is only consciousness expressing itself in myriad forms. What you see as separate individuals are really aspects of your own consciousness pushed out. This is not solipsism. It is the recognition that consciousness is the only reality, and your individual consciousness is one with the universal consciousness. This understanding transforms how you relate to others in your manifestation practice. You do not need to change others, you need only change your consciousness of them. As you revise your concept of another person, they must conform to your revised concept, not through manipulation, but through the law of consciousness. If there is someone in your life who seems hostile or uncooperative, do not try to change their behavior directly. Instead, create a scene in imagination where they are exactly as you would like them to be. Hear them saying the words you long to hear. Feel the satisfaction of harmonious interaction. Persist in this assumption, and they will change, not because you have controlled them, but because you have changed your consciousness of them. The universe guides you by reflecting back to you your consciousness of others. Everything and everyone in your world is yourself pushed out. Change yourself, your assumptions about your relationship with anything, and the thing itself must change. This brings us to perhaps the most profound aspect of universal guidance, the recognition that you are not manifesting things or conditions at all. You are manifesting states of consciousness. The outer world is a shadow, a reflection of inner states. When you truly grasp this, manifestation becomes effortless. Instead of struggling to change conditions, simply enter the state of consciousness that would be yours if conditions were already changed. Live from that state. Make it your dwelling place. The conditions must then rearrange themselves to match your new state of consciousness. I know a woman who desired financial freedom. Rather than focusing on specific dollar amounts or investment strategies, she cultivated the state of consciousness of one who is financially free. She felt the relief, the security, the generosity that financial freedom would bring. Within 6 months, through a series of events, that no one could have predicted, she received an inheritance, a promotion, and an investment opportunity that together created exactly the financial freedom she had assumed in consciousness. The universe guided her not to specific actions, but to the embodiment of a state from which the right actions naturally flowed. This is crucial to understand. Right action follows right consciousness. When you dwell in the consciousness of your wish fulfilled, you will be guided unerringly to take the actions that lead to its manifestation. Now let us address an aspect of manifestation that troubles many. What of those desires that seem impossible? What of physical healing when doctors have pronounced a condition incurable? What of financial abundance when one is deeply in debt? What of love when one has experienced nothing but rejection? I tell you this, nothing is impossible to the one who understands the law of consciousness. The word impossible exists only in the dictionary of fools. In consciousness, all things are possible. The universe guides you beyond seeming impossibilities by urging you to revise your concept of what is possible. When something appears impossible, it is not the thing itself that blocks you. It is your belief in its impossibility. Change the belief, and you change the outcome. This is not positive thinking. This is the recognition of the absolute malleability of reality in response to consciousness. Consider the biblical story of the centurion who came to Jesus seeking healing for his servant. Jesus offered to go to the servant, but the centurion replied, "Lord, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof. Just say the word and my servant will be healed." Jesus marveled at his faith, saying, "Go your way. As you have believed, so let it be done for you." And the servant was healed in that very hour. This story illustrates a profound truth. Healing, indeed, all manifestation, occurs not through external intervention, but through faith. And faith is nothing more than the unquestioning acceptance of a state as if it were already real. The centurion did not doubt. He knew that consciousness was the one and only reality. The universe guided him by responding to his conviction. So it is with you. Whatever you accept fully in consciousness must manifest in your experience. If it has not yet appeared, you have not yet fully accepted it. There remains some doubt, some contradiction in your consciousness that prevents its expression. The solution is not to try harder, but to achieve a deeper acceptance. Fall in love with the state of the wish fulfilled. Make it so natural, so much a part of you, that to experience anything else would seem strange. This complete naturalization of the state is the secret of effortless manifestation. Now, let me share with you what may be the most important insight of all. The universe guides you to greatness through self-love, not the narcissistic self-absorption that passes for self-love in popular discourse, but the profound recognition of your divine nature. When you truly love yourself, when you recognize yourself as the operant power, the God in action within your world, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. For self-love creates a consciousness of worthiness, and the universe can give you only what you believe yourself worthy of receiving. Many seekers struggle with manifestation because at deepest level they do not believe themselves deserving of their desires. They may affirm abundance while unconsciously feeling unworthy of it. They may visualize perfect health while secretly believing they deserve illness as punishment for some past misdeed. These contradictions in consciousness must be resolved before manifestation can occur. The universe guides you by reflecting your self-concept with perfect accuracy. As you cultivate genuine self-love, not as a technique, but as the recognition of your true identity, your outer world must reflect that love back to you in countless forms. Practice seeing yourself through the eyes of love. Speak to yourself as you would to someone precious beyond measure. Forgive yourself completely for all perceived failures and shortcomings. As you do this, you raise your consciousness to a level where manifestation becomes spontaneous and joyful. I once counseled a woman who had spent decades trying various manifestation techniques without success. When we explored her consciousness, we discovered a deep-seated belief that she was fundamentally flawed and undeserving of good. This belief, operating beneath her conscious awareness, negated all her affirmations and visualizations. I instructed her to spend 30 days practicing radical self-love. Each night before sleep, she was to mentally review her day, blessing every aspect of herself, her body, her mind, her emotions, even her perceived failures. Within 2 weeks, she reported feeling lighter, more peaceful. By the end of the 30 days, manifestations began appearing in her life. Opportunities, relationships, resources that had previously been blocked by her self-rejection. The universe had been guiding her all along, reflecting her consciousness with perfect fidelity. As she changed her consciousness of self, the universe could at last deliver the greatness that had always been her birthright. Now, as we draw toward the conclusion of our discussion, let me emphasize a truth that many teachers of manifestation overlook. The purpose of manifestation is not merely the acquisition of things or experiences, but the expansion of consciousness. The universe guides you to greatness not so that you may accumulate possessions, but so that you may know yourself as the creator of your reality. Each desire fulfilled reveals more of your divine nature to you. Each manifestation confirms the law of consciousness and deepens your understanding of your true identity. This is the ultimate purpose of the manifestation process, self-realization. When you manifest from this understanding, your desires themselves transform. No longer do you seek things to fill a sense of lack. You manifest as a joyful expression of your abundance. No longer do you chase experiences to escape your present. You create as an extension of your fullness. This shift in consciousness, from manifesting to have, to manifesting to express, is the hallmark of spiritual maturity. The universe guides you to this maturity through the very process of fulfilling your desires. As you succeed in manifesting your wishes, you come to recognize the creative power that is your true essence. This recognition is the greatest manifestation of all. Let me leave you with this final thought. The universe, that infinite intelligence that pervades all things, guides you to greatness not through external signs or complicated rituals, but through the simple yet profound law of consciousness. What you are conscious of being, you must manifest. There is no exception to this law. Therefore, be conscious of greatness. Assume it, feel it, live from it now. Not as something to be achieved, but as the truth of who you already are. Fall asleep each night in the assumption of greatness fulfilled, and watch as the universe rearranges itself to express that greatness in your outer world. I am not asking you to believe me. I am asking you to test this law for yourself. For truth is never truly known until it is experienced. Take your most heartfelt desire, apply these principles faithfully for 30 days, and observe the results. The universe will guide you to the manifestation of that desire as surely as tomorrow's sun will rise. Remember always, imagination creates reality. Your consciousness is the one and only creative power. The universe guides you to greatness by responding precisely to your state of consciousness. Change your conception of self, and you change your world. Go now in the knowledge of your divine creative power. Go with the certainty that the universe guides you unfailing toward the expression of your greatness. Go in the awareness that the God of which I speak is your own wonderful human imagination, and through its conscious use, all things are possible to you. For the kingdom of heaven is within you, and the universe guides you to manifest that kingdom in all its glory, here and now, in your earthly experience. This is the promise. This is the law. This is the truth that sets you free. What it truly means when we say, everyone leaves on the surface, it may appear to be a statement of abandonment, of loss, of inevitable solitude. But I tell you, it is a statement of profound truth about the nature of our reality and our journey through this world. You see, in this world of Caesar, in this realm of shadows and reflections, people come and go. Relationships form and dissolve. Even the most steadfast companions will, at some point, depart, if not through choice, then through the natural course of life and death. This is the way of the world we perceive with our physical senses. But I am here to remind you of a greater truth. You are never truly alone, for you are one with the divine, with the creative power of the universe, with what I often refer to as your wonderful human imagination. This is the God within you, and it is ever present, all powerful, and the true source of all that you experience in your world. When we say everyone leaves, we are acknowledging the transient nature of our external experiences. We are recognizing that all things in this world of Caesar are temporary, fleeting. But in this recognition, we open ourselves to a profound realization The only constant in your life is you, not the you of flesh and bone, but the divine you, the I am that is your true self. This I am is the God within you. It is the creative power that shapes your reality. It is the awareness that observes your thoughts, feelings, and experiences, and it is the only thing that truly never leaves you. Everything else, every person, every circumstance, every material possession is but a shadow, a reflection of your inner state. Now, you might be thinking, but Neville, this sounds isolating. Are you saying we should push everyone away? No, my dear friends, that is not what I'm suggesting at all. Instead, I'm inviting you to shift your perspective, to realize that your true power, your true essence, lies within you and not in the external world. When you understand this, when you truly grasp that you are one with the divine creative power of the universe, you will never feel alone again. You will realize that you have within you everything you need to not just survive, but to thrive, to create, to manifest the life of your dreams. Let me share with you a simple truth that has transformed countless lives. Your imagination is the God within you. It is the creative power through which all things are possible. When you learn to harness this power, when you learn to live from the end, to experience in your imagination the reality you desire, you become the master of your own destiny. You see, the world around you, with all its people and circumstances, is nothing more than a mirror reflecting back to you your own inner state. When you change within, the reflection must change without. This is the law, and it is immutable. So when we speak of learning to survive alone, what we're really talking about is learning to tap into the infinite power within you. It's about realizing that you are the operant power in your world. You are the one who decides what your experience will be, regardless of external circumstances. Now, let's delve deeper into this concept of being alone. In the world of Caesar, being alone often carries negative connotations. We're told that humans are social creatures, that we need others to thrive. And while it's true that relationships and connections can enrich our lives, it's crucial to understand that true fulfillment, true peace, true power comes from within. When you learn to be comfortable in your own company, when you learn to rely on your own inner resources, you become invincible. No external circumstance can shake you because you know that you carry within you the power to change any situation, to create any reality you desire. This is what it means to truly survive alone. It means to stand firm in the knowledge of who you really are, a divine being, one with God, possessing infinite creative power. It means to live from that state of awareness, to operate in the world from that unshakable foundation. But how do we achieve this state? How do we come to this realization and begin to live from it? The answer, my friends, lies in the practice of what I call the law. This law is simple yet profound. Imagine the reality you desire, feel it as real, and it must come to pass in your external world. You see, your imagination is not some fanciful, idle daydreaming. It is the very workshop of creation. When you imagine, you are engaging the God within you. You are exercising your divine creative power. And when you couple that imagination with feeling, when you feel the reality of what you've imagined, you set in motion the forces that will bring that imagined reality into your physical experience. This is how you not only survive but thrive when everyone leaves. You realize that you never needed anyone else to complete you, to fulfill you, to make you whole. You always had within you everything you needed. The people in your life, the relationships, the connections, these are all wonderful expressions of your inner state, reflections of your consciousness. But they are not the source of your happiness, your success, your fulfillment. You are the source. Let me give you an example to illustrate this point. Imagine a young woman who has just gone through a difficult breakup. In the world of Caesar, she might feel lost, alone, incomplete. She might believe that her happiness walked out the door with her former partner. But if this young woman understands the law, if she grasped the truth of her own divine nature, she would see the situation very differently. Instead of focusing on the loss, on the absence, she would turn within. She would use her imagination to create the reality she desires. Perhaps she imagines herself confident, joyful, and fulfilled. Perhaps she feels the reality of being in a loving, supportive relationship. Or perhaps she imagines herself thriving in her career, surrounded by friends, living a life of purpose and passion. The key is this: whatever she imagines and feels as real must by law be reflected in her external reality. This is not wishful thinking or positive affirmations. This is the operation of cosmic law. This is the creative power of God, the human imagination at work. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, isn't this selfish? Shouldn't we be focusing on others, on building relationships and connections? And to this, I say, there is no greater service you can offer to the world than to realize your own divine nature, to manifest your highest self, to live from the state of the person you wish to be. You see, when you do this, when you live from the end, from the state of your wish fulfilled, you automatically uplift everyone around you. You become a living example of what's possible. Your very being becomes an inspiration, a beacon of light in the world. Moreover, when you understand that everyone in your world is you pushed out, a reflection of your own consciousness, you realize that by changing yourself, by living from your highest state, you are quite literally changing the world. You are improving every relationship, every interaction, every circumstance in your life. This, my dear friends, is the true meaning of learning to survive alone. It's not about isolation or self-sufficiency in the worldly sense. It's about realizing your oneness with God, your true identity as the operant power in your world. It's about understanding that everything you seek, love, success, fulfillment, peace, is already within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. Let's explore this concept further through the lens of various life situations. Consider the realm of career and success. Many people believe that their success depends on external factors, on knowing the right people, on being in the right place at the right point, on having the right qualifications or background. But I tell you, true success comes from within. When you imagine yourself successful, when you feel the reality of being the person you wish to be in your career, you align yourself with that state. You begin to think, speak, and act from that state of success. And inevitably, the outer world must reorganize itself to match your inner assumption. I've seen this principle at work countless times. I remember a young man who came to one of my lectures. He was struggling in his career, feeling stuck and unappreciated. I advised him to imagine himself in the position he desired, to feel the satisfaction and confidence of being successful in his field. At first he was skeptical, but never he said, I don't have the experience or the connections. How can simply imagining make a difference? I told him to persist in his imaginal act, to make it so real that he could taste it, feel it, live it in his mind. Weeks later, he returned with a beaming smile. Not only had he been promoted to the very position he had imagined, but opportunities he had never even considered had begun to flow into his life. You see, when he changed his inner state, when he began to live from the end in his imagination, the outer world had no choice but to conform to his new self-concept. This, my friends, is the power you hold within you. This is how you thrive when it seems like everyone has left. When the outer world seems unsupportive or even hostile to hope, you turn within, you imagine the reality you desire, and you live from that state. Now let's turn our attention to the realm of relationships, for this is often where the fear of being alone is most keenly felt. Many of you may have experienced the pain of loss, the ache of heartbreak, the fear of abandonment. And in those moments, it can feel as though a vital part of you has been torn away. But I am here to remind you of a profound truth. No one can complete you because you are already complete. You are whole, perfect, and complete in your divine nature. The love you seek, the companionship you desire, these are all within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. When you understand this, when you live from this truth, you free yourself from the desperate need for others to fill a perceived void in your life. You become magnetic, attracting into your life people and relationships that reflect your inner state of wholeness and love. Let me share with you the story of a dear friend who grasped this truth and transformed her life. She had been through a series of unfulfilling relationships, each ending in heartbreak and disappointment. She came to me feeling depleted, wondering if she was destined to be alone forever. I asked her a simple question. Who would you be if you were in the perfect relationship? How would you feel? How would you carry yourself? I encouraged her to imagine herself as that person, to feel the joy, the confidence, the love that she would feel in her ideal relationship. At first, she found it challenging. The pain of her past experiences kept intruding on her imaginal scene. But I urged her to persist, to make her imaginal act more real than her memories of past disappointments. Gradually, she began to feel a shift. She noticed that she was becoming more confident, more joyful, more at peace with herself. She no longer felt the desperate need to be in a relationship. And then something remarkable happened. Not only did she begin to attract healthier, more fulfilling relationships into her life, but she realized that she had fallen in love with herself. She had discovered the wellspring of love within her own being. She understood, perhaps for the first time, that she was complete in herself. This, my dear friends, is the liberating truth I want you to grasp tonight. When you realize that you are complete in yourself, when you tap into the infinite love and power within you, you free yourself from the fear of being alone. You learn not just to survive, but to thrive in any circumstance. Now, let's address another aspect of our topic, the fear of death. For in the world of Caesar, death represents the ultimate leaving, the final solitude. Many live in fear of this moment, seeing it as the end of everything, the ultimate separation. But I tell you, death is but a transition, a shift in consciousness. When you understand your true nature as a spiritual being, as one with God, you realize death holds no power over you. Your true self, your I am, is eternal and unchanging. In fact, I encourage you to practice dying daily. By this, I mean to die to your old concept of self, to let go of limiting beliefs and negative self-images. Each night as you go to sleep, imagine yourself as the person you wish to be. Feel the reality of your wish fulfilled. Then, as you awake each morning, carry that new self-concept with you into your day. This practice of dying daily to your old self and being reborn to your ideal self is the key to personal transformation. It is how you survive and thrive in a world where everything is constantly changing, where people come and go, where nothing in the world of Caesar is permanent. Remember, my friends, that your true home is not in this world of shadows and reflections. Your true home is in the realm of imagination, in the kingdom of God within you. When you live from this awareness, you are never truly alone, never truly abandoned, never truly at the mercy of external circumstances. Let's now turn our attention to the practical application of these principles in your daily life. How do you begin to live from this state of divine awareness? How do you tap into the God within you and create the life you desire? The first step is to still your mind, to quiet the incessant chatter of your physical senses and your rational mind. This is why I often emphasize the importance of meditation and contemplation. Find time each day to sit in silence, to turn your attention inward. As you sit in silence, bring to mind the reality you wish to experience. See it clearly in your mind's eye, but don't stop at mere visualization. Engage all your senses. If you're imagining a successful career, feel the satisfaction of achievement. Hear the congratulations of your colleagues. Feel the weight of responsibility and the thrill of new challenges. If you're imagining a loving relationship, feel the warmth of your partner's embrace. Hear the words of love and support. Feel the deep sense of connection and understanding. Whatever you're imagining, make it as real and as vivid as possible. And here's the crucial part. Feel the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feel the gratitude, the joy, the sense of accomplishment, as if what you're imagining is already your reality. This feeling, this emotion, is the secret to effective manifestation. For you see, the subconscious mind, which is one with the universal creative force, doesn't distinguish between what you're experiencing in your physical reality and what you're experiencing vividly in your imagination. When you feel the reality of your imagined state, you impress that reality upon your subconscious mind, and it begins to work tirelessly to bring that reality into your physical experience. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, I've tried this, and it didn't work. I imagined what I wanted, but nothing changed to this. I say persistence is key. You must return to your imaginal scene night after night, impressing it upon your subconscious mind until it feels more real to you than your current physical reality. Remember, you are undoing years, perhaps decades of negative thinking and limiting beliefs. You are reversing the momentum of your old thought patterns. This takes time and consistent effort. But I assure you, if you persist, if you remain faithful to your imaginal act, it must bear fruit in your physical reality. Moreover, you must learn to live from the state of your wish fulfilled. This means aligning your thoughts, words, and actions with the person you are imagining yourself to be. If you're imagining financial abundance, start treating yourself as if you are already wealthy. If you're imagining a loving relationship, start treating yourself and others with the love and respect you envision in your ideal relationship. This is what I mean when I speak of living from the end. You don't wait for your outer world to change before you change your inner state. You change your inner state, and your outer world must follow suit. Now let's address a common concern that arises when we speak of creating our own reality. Many worry, if I'm creating my reality, does that mean I'm to blame for all the negative things in my life? And to this I say, let go of the concepts of blame and fault. These are limiting beliefs that keep you trapped in a cycle of guilt and self-recrimination. Instead, embrace the empowering truth that if you can imagine it, you can create it. Your past thoughts and beliefs may have contributed to your current circumstances, but your future is determined by your present thoughts and beliefs. You have the power right now, in this very moment, to begin creating the life you desire. This understanding is particularly powerful when it comes to healing from past hurts and traumas. Many of you may have experienced abandonment, betrayal, or loss. These experiences can leave deep scars, making it difficult to trust, to open your heart, to believe in the possibility of love and connection. But I tell you, no matter what you've experienced in the past, you have the power to heal. You have the power to rewrite your story, to create a new narrative for your life. And it all begins in your imagination. Imagine yourself healed, whole, and complete. Feel the peace that comes with forgiveness, the joy that comes with self-love, the confidence that comes with knowing your own worth. Live from this state and watch as your outer world begins to reflect your inner healing. Remember, everyone who has ever hurt you, everyone who has ever left you, was simply playing a role in the story you were telling. As you change your story, as you revise your concept of self, the characters in your life will either change to match your new narrative or they will exit stage left, making room for new characters who align with your new self-concept. This is the true meaning of learning to survive alone. It's about recognizing that you are the author of your life story. You are the creator of your reality. You have within you everything you need to create the life you desire. Now, let's talk about the concept of revision, a powerful technique that can help you reshape your past and consequently your present and future. Revision is not about denying what happened, but about reinterpreting events in a way that empowers you and aligns with your desired reality. For instance, if you've experienced a painful breakup, instead of replaying the hurt and betrayal in your mind of your scene, imagine the relationship ending amicably, with both parties wishing each other well. Feel the peace and closure that comes with this revised scenario. Or if you've lost a job, instead of dwelling on the feelings of rejection and failure, revise the scene. Imagine your former employer congratulating you on moving on to bigger, better opportunities. Feel the excitement and optimism of new beginnings. By revising past events in your imagination, you're not changing what physically happened, but you are changing your emotional response to those events. And since your emotional state is what creates your reality, this revision can have a profound impact on your present and future experiences. This practice of revision is particularly powerful when it comes to healing feelings of abandonment or betrayal. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim of others' actions, you begin to see yourself as the powerful creator of your own experience. You realize that no one can truly abandon you because you are never alone. You are always one with the divine, with the God within you. Now, I want to address something that many of you may be feeling as you hear these words. You might be thinking, Neville, this all sounds wonderful, but it feels selfish. Shouldn't we be focusing on helping others, on making the world a better place? To this I say, there is no greater service you can offer to the world than to realize your own divine nature and to live a nation. When you tap into the God within you, when you begin to create consciously and deliberately, you become a beacon of light in the world. Your very being uplifts those around you. Moreover, when you understand that everyone and everything in your world is you pushed out, a reflection of your own consciousness, you realize that by changing yourself, you are changing the world. As you cultivate love, peace, and abundance within yourself, you naturally extend these qualities to everyone in your world. This is the true meaning of being your brother's keeper. It's not about trying to change others or fix their problems. It's about embodying the change you wish to see in the world. It's about living from the state of the person you wish to be. And in doing so, inspiring others to recognize their own divine nature. Let me share with you a powerful practice that can help you embody this understanding. Each night, before you go to sleep, I want you to imagine yourself as the person you wish to be. See yourself living the life you desire, embodying the qualities you admire. But don't stop there. As you imagine this ideal version of yourself, extend that same love, success, and fulfillment to everyone in your world. See everyone around you thriving, joyful, and fulfilled. Feel the happiness that comes from knowing that as you prosper, so does everyone in your world. This practice not only accelerates your own manifestation process, but also cultivates a deep sense of connection and oneness with all of life. You begin to understand experientially that there is no separation, that we are all one in consciousness. As you continue this practice, you'll find that your fear of being alone, your fear of abandonment begins to dissolve. You realize that you can never truly be alone because you are one with all of life. You are one with God, the creative power of the universe. Now let's delve deeper into the concept of states of consciousness, for this understanding is crucial to mastering the art of conscious creation. Every experience you have, every circumstance in your life, is the result of the state of consciousness you're occupying. A state is simply a mindset, a way of being. It's the sum total of your thoughts, beliefs, and feelings about yourself and the world. When you change your state, when you shift your consciousness to embody different thoughts, beliefs, and feelings, your experience must change to match your new state. This is why it's so important to mind your inner conversations, to be aware of the thoughts you're thinking and the emotions you're feeling throughout your SEO. These inner conversations, these habitual thought patterns, are creating your reality. If you find yourself constantly thinking thoughts of lack, of loneliness, of abandonment, you're occupying a state that will continue to create experiences that match those thoughts. But the moment you shift your consciousness, the moment you begin to think thoughts of abundance, of connection, of divine companionship, you move into a new state, and your reality must shift to reflect this new state. This understanding is particularly powerful when it comes to dealing with the fear of being alone. You see, loneliness is a state of consciousness. It's not determined by your external circumstances, but by your inner perception of those circumstances. You can be in a room full of people and feel desperately alone if you're occupying a state of loneliness. Conversely, you can be physically alone and feel deeply connected and fulfilled if you're occupying a state of divine companionship, of oneness with God. The key then is to consciously choose the state you wish to occupy. And you do this through your imagination. By imagining yourself in the state you desire, by feeling the reality of that state, you begin to shift your consciousness. And as your consciousness shifts, your reality must follow suit. Let me give you a practical exercise to help you master this skill of state shifting. Choose a state you wish to embody. Perhaps it's confidence, or love, or success. Now, close your eyes and imagine a scene that implies you are already living from that state. Make it as vivid and as real as possible. For instance, if you're imagining the state of confidence, you might see yourself giving a powerful presentation to a room full of attentive listeners. Feel the confidence coursing through your body. Hear the applause at the end of your talk. Feel the satisfaction of knowing you've made a positive impact. Now, here's the crucial part. Carry this feeling with you throughout your day. When you interact with others, when you go about your tasks, do so from this state of confidence. Speak, think, and act as the confident person you've imagined yourself to be. At first, this might feel like you're pretending or playing a role. But I assure you, as you persist in this practice, it will become more and more natural. You'll find yourself spontaneously thinking and acting from this new state. And as you do, you'll see your outer world begin to reflect your inner state. This practice of consciously choosing and occupying states is the key to mastering your life experience. It's how you learn not just to survive, but to thrive, regardless of external circumstances. It's how you become the conscious creator of your reality. Now, I want to address a question that often arises when we discuss these principles. Many ask, Neville, if I can create my reality through my imagination, why do bad things stay? Why do I still experience loss and pain? To this I say, remember that you are in the process of awakening to your true nature as a divine creator. You are learning to use the power of your imagination consciously and deliberately. But for much of your life, you've been creating unconsciously, reacting to circumstances rather than consciously choosing your state. Moreover, you are surrounded by the thoughts and beliefs of others, by societal conditioning that often runs counter to these principles. It takes time and practice to overcome these influences and to consistently create from a place of conscious awareness. But here's the empowering truth. Even when challenging circumstances arise, you have the power to choose how you respond. You have the power to revise your experience, to find the gift in every situation, to use every experience as an opportunity for growth and expansion. This is what it means to be the operant power in your world. It doesn't mean that you'll never face challenges or that everything will always go smoothly. It means that you have the power to choose your response to every situation, to create meaning from every experience, to use every circumstance as a stepping stone to your desired reality. As we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to leave you with a powerful reminder. You are never truly alone. The God within you, your own wonderful human imagination, is your constant companion, your unfailing friend, your source of infinite possibility. When you fully grasp this truth, when you live from this understanding, you free yourself from the fear of abandonment, from the anxiety of being alone. You realize that everything you seek, love, companionship, success, fulfillment, is already within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. So my dear friends, as you go forth from this place, I encourage you to practice living from the state of your wish fulfilled. Imagine the reality you desire. Feel it as real and persist in that feeling. Know that as you do this, you are engaging the creative power of the universe. You are activating the God within you. Remember, everyone lives in the world of Caesar, but in the world of spirit, in the kingdom of God within you. You are never alone. You are one with the source of all creation, one with the power that shapes universes. Embrace this truth. Live from this understanding, and watch as your world transforms to reflect the divine being that you truly are. Thank you, and may God bless you all. Most of humanity lives under a terrible misconception. They believe that their desires are wishes cast into an empty void, hoping against hope that somehow, some way these desires might manifest in their physical world. But I tell you tonight that this is not how creation works. Your desires are not desperate feelings to an indifferent universe. They are recognitions, acknowledgments of what already is. When you desire something, you are not creating that thing. You are discovering it. You are becoming aware of a reality that exists parallel to your current experience. Every desire that stirs within you is evidence of a fulfilled reality existing in what I call the infinite states of consciousness. The wealthy version of you already exists. The healthy version of you already exists. The loved, the successful, the fulfilled version of you already exists. All of these states are as real and as present as the state you currently occupy. But here is where most people stumble. They acknowledge their desire, they may even believe it exists somewhere, but they do not know how to receive it. They continue to live from the state of want, the state of lack, the state of hoping and wishing. And living from these states, they can only perpetuate more of the same. You cannot receive abundance while dwelling in the feeling of poverty. You cannot receive love while harboring the consciousness of rejection. You cannot receive health while maintaining the mental atmosphere of disease. The art of receiving requires a fundamental shift in your understanding of reality itself. You must come to know, not merely believe, that consciousness is the only reality. Everything you see, everything you experience, every circumstance in your life is nothing more than consciousness externalized. The outer world is simply consciousness made visible. When you truly grasp this, you realize that to change your outer world, you need only change your consciousness. Now, what do I mean by consciousness? I do not mean your thoughts, though thoughts play a role. I do not mean your emotions, though emotions are indicators. By consciousness, I mean your state of being, your habitual dwelling place, the feeling of being that you carry with you moment by moment. It is the sum total of all your beliefs, assumptions, and mental attitudes crystallized into a persistent state. To receive what you want, you must learn to dwell in the consciousness of having it. Not hoping to have it, not working towards having it, but having it now. This is perhaps the most challenging concept for the rational mind to accept, because the rational mind is trained to accept only what the senses report. But I ask you to consider this. Did your current circumstances exist before you experienced them? Of course they did in consciousness. Every building you see existed first in the consciousness of the architect. Every invention began in the consciousness of the inventor. Every relationship began in the consciousness of connection. The secret lies in learning to live from the end. Instead of living from your current circumstance and trying to change them, you must learn to live from the consciousness of your fulfilled desire. You must feel yourself to be the person who already has what you want. You must think from that state, not about that state. Let me illustrate this with a simple example. Suppose you desire financial abundance. The typical approach is to acknowledge your current lack of money and then try various methods to acquire more. You might work harder, you might invest, you might pray or affirm. But all of these approaches begin with the premise of lack. They are attempts to get something you don't have. And as long as you operate from the consciousness of not having, you will continue to create experiences that confirm your lack. The correct approach is to assume the feeling of financial abundance right now. How would you feel if you were financially free? What would be your mental attitude? How would you view the world around you? What assumptions would you hold about yourself and your relationship to money? You must capture this feeling, this state of consciousness, and make it your dwelling place. This is not pretending. This is not positive thinking. This is not self-deception. This is recognizing and accepting a reality that exists beyond the narrow scope of your current sensory experience. The financially abundant version of you exists right now in what we might call a parallel reality. By assuming the consciousness of that version of yourself, you begin to merge with that reality. You begin to receive what has always been yours. But receiving is not a one-time event. It is a continuous process of maintaining the consciousness of having. Most people make the mistake of assuming their desired state for a few moments and then returning to their habitual consciousness of lack. They plant the seed and then immediately dig it up to see if it thriving. They assume abundance in the morning and return to poverty consciousness by afternoon. Receiving requires persistence. It requires what I call living in the assumption. You must assume your desire is fulfilled and continue to assume it until it becomes natural to you. At first it may feel strange or even false to assume you have what your senses tell you that you lack. But with practice, this new assumption becomes familiar, then comfortable, then natural. And when it becomes natural, when it becomes your new normal state of consciousness, then it must and will externalize in your physical experience. The universe has no choice but to conform to your consciousness. This is not a belief system, this is a law, as immutable as the law of gravity. Consciousness is the cause, and the external world is the effect. Change the cause, and the effect must change. Assume the consciousness of having your desire, and you must receive it in your outer experience. Now, I want to address a common obstacle that prevents people from receiving what they want. It is the belief in unworthiness. So many of you have been conditioned to believe that you must earn what you desire, that you must prove yourself worthy of your good. But I tell you that you are born worthy. Your very existence is proof of your worthiness. The fact that you can desire something is evidence that it belongs to you. God, the creative power of the universe, does not withhold good from anyone. There are no favorites in the realm of consciousness. The same power that creates abundance for one can create abundance for all. The same power that manifests love for one can manifest love for all. You do not need to earn what is already yours by divine right. Your only task is to accept it, to receive it, to allow it to flow into your experience. And you do this by assuming the consciousness of already having it. When you assume you are wealthy, you think the thoughts of a wealthy person. When you assume you are loved, you feel the feelings of a beloved person. When you assume you are healthy, you carry yourself with the vitality of perfect health. This assumption is not based on current evidence. In fact, it often contradicts current evidence. This is why it requires faith, not faith in some external deity, but faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. You must be willing to assume your good in the face of contrary evidence. You must be willing to feel wealthy when your bank account suggests poverty. You must be willing to feel loved when your circumstances suggest loneliness. You must be willing to feel successful when your current situation suggests failure. This is the test of faith. Can you assume what you desire in spite of what you observe? Can you maintain the consciousness of having when your senses scream that you lack? This is the narrow gate that leads to fulfillment. Most people cannot pass through it because they trust their senses more than they trust their consciousness. But you must understand that your senses only report the past. What you see and experience now is the result of yesterday's consciousness. If you want to change tomorrow's experience, you must change today's consciousness. You must learn to disregard the evidence of your senses when it contradicts your desired state and rely instead on the evidence of your assumption. This brings us to the practice of receiving. How do you actually assume the consciousness of having what you want? The most effective method is through the use of imagination. Your imagination is not fantasy, it is the creative power of God within you. Through imagination, you can experience any state of consciousness as vividly as you experience your current state. Each night as you prepare for sleep, use your imagination to assume the fulfillment of your desire. If you want abundance, imagine counting money, paying bills with ease, making generous donations. If you want love, imagine intimate conversations, shared laughter, the feeling of being cherished. If you want health, imagine vigorous activity, compliments on your appearance, the sensation of perfect vitality. The key is to make these imaginal acts as real and as natural as possible. Do not imagine from the perspective of an observer watching yourself have these experiences. Imagine from the first-person perspective. See through your own eyes, hear through your own ears, feel through your own body. Make the imaginal experience so vivid that it becomes more real to you than your current circumstances. As you practice this night after night, you will begin to feel a shift in your consciousness. The assumption will start to feel natural. You will catch yourself thinking from the new state during your waking hours. You will find yourself making decisions and taking actions that align with your assumed reality. This is evidence that the assumption is taking root in your consciousness. But do not make the mistake of looking for immediate external confirmation. The physical world takes time to rearrange itself to match your now through consciousness. Be patient. Continue to assume. Continue to live from the end. The external change will come, but it must begin within you first. There is another important aspect of receiving that I must address, and that is the matter of resistance. Often, when people begin to assume a new state of consciousness, they encounter internal resistance. Old beliefs, old fears, old patterns of thinking rise up to challenge the new assumption. This is natural and expected. Do not be discouraged by it. When you encounter resistance, do not fight it. Fighting resistance only strengthens it. Instead, gently return to your assumption. When negative thoughts arise, do not argue with them or try to prove them wrong. Simply assume their opposite. When fear whispers that you cannot have what you want, assume that you already have it. When doubt suggests that your desire is impossible, assume that it has already manifested. Remember, you are not trying to convince your rational mind of anything. Your rational mind will find 1,000 reasons why your assumption is unrealistic. You are working at a deeper level, at the level of consciousness itself. At this level, there is no impossible, only assumed and not assumed. The art of receiving also requires that you maintain a state of gratitude. Not gratitude for what you hope to receive, but gratitude for what you have already received in consciousness. When you assume the fulfillment of your desire, you must also assume the gratitude that would naturally accompany that fulfillment. Feel thankful for your abundance, your love, your health, your success, whatever it is you desire. This gratitude is not an attempt to earn what you want through appreciation. You already have what you want in consciousness. The gratitude is simply an acknowledgement of that fact. It is the natural emotional response to having your desire fulfilled. And when you feel this gratitude consistently, it becomes evidence to your subconscious mind that the assumption is real. As you continue to practice the art of receiving, you will notice that your external world begins to shift in subtle ways. Opportunities will appear that were not there before. People will enter your life who can help you. Resources will become available that were previously hidden. These are not coincidences. They are the natural result of your changed consciousness seeking to express itself in physical form. But here is a crucial point. Do not become attached to how your good comes to you. Do not limit the ways in which the universe can deliver your desire. Your job is to assume the consciousness of having. It is the universe's job to work out the details of how it manifests. Trust in the wisdom of the creative process. Allow it to surprise you with its ingenuity. Sometimes your good will come through channels you never could have imagined. Sometimes it will come through people you never would have expected. Sometimes it will come in forms slightly different from what you originally envisioned, but perfectly suited to your true needs. Remain open to all possibilities. Do not insist that your desire manifests in exactly the way you think it should. There is also the matter of timing. Many people assume their desired state for a while and then become impatient when it does not immediately externalize. They begin to doubt the process and often abandon their assumption just before it is ready to manifest. This is perhaps the greatest tragedy in the realm of manifestation. Understand that there is a gestation period for every assumption. Just as a seed planted in the ground takes time to sprout and grow, an assumption planted in consciousness takes time to externalize. The length of this gestation period depends on several factors: how natural the assumption feels to you, how consistently you maintain it, and how much it differs from your previous state of consciousness. A small change in consciousness might manifest quickly, while a dramatic transformation might take longer. But time is irrelevant when you are living from the consciousness of already having what you want. When you truly assume your desire is fulfilled, you are not waiting for it to happen. You are enjoying it now in consciousness. This brings us to one of the most profound aspects of receiving, the realization that the thing desired is not really the goal. The goal is the state of consciousness, the feeling of being that the thing would bring. When you desire wealth, you are really desiring the feeling of security, freedom, and abundance that wealth represents. When you desire love, you are really desiring the feeling of connection, acceptance, and joy that love brings. When you desire health, you are really desiring the feeling of vitality, energy, and well-being that health provides. Here is the beautiful truth. You can have these feelings now, simply by assuming them. You do not need to wait for the external thing to appear before you can feel abundant, loved, or healthy. In fact, you must feel these things first, and then the external manifestation will follow. This is why the practice of receiving is so liberating. You do not have to wait for your circumstances to change before you can feel good. You can feel good now by assuming the consciousness of your fulfilled desire. And when you feel good now, you magnetize experiences that will justify and sustain that good feeling. Many people resist this approach because they believe it is unrealistic or dishonest to feel good when their circumstances suggest they should feel bad. But I ask you, which is more real, the temporary circumstances that surround you, or the eternal consciousness that creates those circumstances? Which is more honest, to feel bad because of current conditions, or to feel good because of the unlimited potential within you? Your circumstances are constantly changing. They are fluid, temporary, subject to the shifts in your consciousness. But your consciousness, your I am, is permanent, eternal, divine. When you learn to identify with your consciousness rather than your circumstances, you discover that you have the power to change any condition, to create any experience, to receive any good thing. This is the ultimate truth about receiving. You are not a victim of circumstances waiting for rescue. You are the creator of circumstances, constantly expressing your consciousness in physical form. Everything you want already exists in the infinite field of possibilities that is consciousness. Your job is not to create it, but to select it, not to manifest it, but to accept it, not to achieve it, but to receive it. As you learn to live from this understanding, your entire relationship with desire changes. Desire is no longer a source of suffering, a reminder of what you lack. Desire becomes a gift, a signal from your higher self pointing you toward a reality that already exists and is ready to be claimed. Every desire is an invitation to expand your consciousness, to assume a greater version of yourself. And when you accept this invitation, when you assume the consciousness of your desire fulfilled, you join the ranks of those who have liberated the supreme art of living, the art of receiving. You become one who walks through life knowing that every good thing is already yours, that every dream is already realized, that every wish is already granted. You need only to assume it, to accept it, to receive it. This is the message I leave with you tonight. Stop trying to get what you want and start receiving what you already have. Stop struggling to become who you want to be and start being who you already are in consciousness. Stop looking to the future for your fulfillment and start accepting the fulfillment that exists in this eternal now. Everything you want already exists. The wealthy you, the healthy you, the loved you, the successful you, all exist right now in consciousness. These are not potential realities waiting to be created. They are actual realities waiting to be received. And you receive them by assuming them, by feeling them to be true, by living from the consciousness of their fulfillment. This is not a technique to be practiced occasionally. This is a way of life to be embraced completely. When you fully understand that consciousness is the only reality, that imagination creates reality, that assumption creates facts, then you will never again feel helpless in the face of unwanted circumstances. You will know that you have the power to assume any state, to receive any good, to become any version of yourself that you can imagine. The art of receiving is the art of assuming. And the art of assuming is the art of living deliberately, consciously, divinely. It is the art of recognizing that you are not a human being hoping to have a spiritual experience, but a spiritual being having a human experience. It is the art of remembering that you are not separate from the creative power of the universe, but one with it, expressing it, embodying it in every moment. So I say to you, assume you're good. Feel your desires to be already fulfilled. Live from the end of your every wish. Do this not occasionally, not when you remember, not when you feel like it, but consistently, persistently, faithfully. Make it your habitual state of consciousness. Make it your normal way of being. Make it as natural as breathing. When you do this, you will discover what the mystics of all ages have known, that the kingdom of heaven is within you, that all things are possible to consciousness, that you and the Father are one. You will know the truth that sets you free, the truth that everything you want already exists, and that your only work is to learn the divine art of receiving it. This is your birthright. This is your inheritance. This is your destiny. Not to struggle and hope and wish, but to assume and receive and enjoy. Not to be at the mercy of circumstances, but to be the creator of circumstances. Not to wonder if your dreams will come true, but to know that they already are true in the only place that matters, in consciousness. Embrace this truth. Live this truth. Become this truth. And as you do, we'll find that life becomes not a battle to be fought, but a gift to be received. You will find that every day brings new evidence of your assumptions made manifest. You will find that the universe conspires to confirm your every assumption of good. This is the promise I make to you. Live from the consciousness of having what you want, and you must receive it in your experience. This is not hope, this is law. This is not possibility, this is certainty. This is not theory, this is the way the universe works. Everything you want already exists. Your work is to receive it. And you receive it by assuming it, by feeling it to be true now, by living from the end of your every desire. This is the art of receiving. This is the secret of manifestation. This is the way of consciousness. Go now and receive your good. Assume your desires fulfilled. Live from the end. And watch as your wonderful imagination pushes out into your world of experience everything you have assumed to be true. The power is within you. The kingdom is within you. Everything you want is within you, waiting only for your recognition and acceptance. Receive it now. Assume it now. Live it now. For now is the only time there is, and consciousness is the only reality there is. And you are the consciousness in which all things exist and from which all things come. This is your truth. This is your power. This is your way of receiving everything you want. For everything you want already exists in the infinite creativity of your own divine consciousness.